Hey VC, it's Jonathan, your cheap and cheerful record collector. This is the third in a series of videos I'm doing of the best debut albums, or not the best, my favorite debut albums of different decades. I did the 60s, I did the 70s, and now we're into the 80s. I guess I made a couple of mistakes in the 70s, and people let me know about it. So, big mistake I made. I thought this album came out in the 70s, and it really didn't come out till 1980. So I'll start with this one. It's still one of my favorite albums, and it is Rockpile. Dave Edmunds and Nick Lowe. Someone once described this album as Chuck Berry on speed, and I got to agree. Album Teacher Teacher is one song. If Sugar Was as Sweet as You, Play That Fast Thing One More Time. When I Write the Book, You Ain't Nothing But Fine. Great album. And like I said before, they put out about 3 or 4 albums individually, Nick Lowe and Dave Edmunds, after this. And even though they were under their own name, it was basically the same band as in Rockpile. So, Rockpile. Love it. Early 80s, I was really into that ska thing. And the first album by this group, The Selector, was Too Much Pressure, 1980. What a great album. Love that two-tone ska thing working. And always had a nice label. Yeah, they got the Selector label. There we go. Pretty cool. And it is the Selector, not the Selectors. Little ska. And speaking of ska and England and the 80s, how about the English Beat? And this is their first album. Just called I Just Can't Stop It. And this has Mirror in the Bathroom, Hands Off Her, She's Mine, Tears of a Clown. What a great version of that. Ranking Full Stop. Just Can't Get Used to Losing You. Great album. The English Beat. While we're doing that, how about this woman went on to have a big career later. This is her first album with a band before she broke through. And it's the album Blue Angel. And over there in the right corner, you can see it's our gal, Cyndi Lauper. This is a fun album. I like it, and it is fun, but she really hadn't found her voice yet. That would happen a couple of years later. Great album, though. The 80s seemed to be a time where a lot of guys were leaving bands and were then forming, doing solo careers. This is one who did that. He was in a band, Squeeze, and he did a solo career. He left Squeeze, and that's Jools Holland. And this is his solo album, Jools Holland and the Millionaires. Really enjoy this a lot. Has the song Bumble Boogie, First Drink of the Day. Just fun stuff. Oh, everyone knows Jools Holland. He went on, has a show in England where he has different musicians on the show. Great piano player, great musician. Jools Holland. All right. Next one is one of my favorite guitar players, one of my favorite musicians, studio musician for many years, played with everybody. And then finally in the 80s, he put his first solo album out, and that's David Lindley. And this is his album, Win This Record. Excuse me. Fantastic stuff. This happens to be a white label promo on Asylum Records. The guy could play anything with a string. And definitely, I have a number of his albums, but this is one of my favorite. His first one, Win This Record. Speaking of guys who left bands and started their own solo careers, next one was in Steely Dan and went on to start his solo career. And this is his album, Nightfly. Love this album by Donald Fagen. I always say this is the best album Steely Dan never made. It's just so great. Nightfly, you all know that. Here's another one. This is a first album by this singer-songwriter. I don't think, for me, he did anything nearly as good as this after this. And it's Marshall Crenshaw. This is such a great album. So much promise, and I just never felt anything after this measured up to this album. Marshall Crenshaw. There she goes again, rocking around in New York City, the usual thing. She Can't Dance, Soldier of Love, not for me. Great stuff. I'm not giving dates because I can't remember. I started with the 80 and we're chronological on showing the records, but I don't know where 82 stops and 83 starts or what was recorded which particular day. So just have to go with the flow. How about some rockabilly from the 80s? The Rockabilly Revival. The Stray Cats, Rant and Rave for the Stray Cats. Their first album. Debut. I just love these guys' stuff. I Won't Stand in Your Way, A Hot Rod Gang, She's Sexy in 17. Just great. Rockabilly stuff. Stray Cats. Also in the 80s, one of the great guitar players of all time. First album, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Texas Flood, Double Trouble. What a great, great album. Love Struck Baby, Pride and Joy, Texas Flood. I'm Crying. You all know this album. Fantastic. Stevie Ray Vaughan, first album. And that woman who was in the other band I just showed you, Blue Angel. How about her first album? Cyndi Lauper, She's So Unusual. The singles that came out of this album, I mean, you had Money Changes Everything, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Time After Time, She Bop. There's at least 4 songs, like 4 or 5 singles came off this album. I saw her right around this time. I was living in North Carolina. We went to see her, I think it was at Duke maybe, and I don't know, but I think it was the Go-Go's that opened up for her. Great show, great concert. Cyndi Lauper, love Cyndi. And from the UK, a singer-songwriter, sort of obscure, but I love him, Billy Bragg. Real political, just wonderful singer-songwriter. I love how he has on here. This is the album Life's a Riot with Spy vs. Spy. And I love how he says here, pay no more than £2.99 for the 7-track album. As if. It's great. Love me some Billy Bragg. And there you go. Again, a woman who had a great album in the 80s. And again, I don't think she did anything nearly as good as this in Going On. But this is a great album. And it's Sade. And this is The Diamond Life. Or just Diamond Life. Smooth Operator comes from this album. Love this album. Just wonderful. First album by Sade. Another guy left the group, left a successful band, went out on his own, and the band was Police, and this is Sting with his first album. And this is The Dream of the Blue Turtles. It's grown on me. I like it more now than I did when I first heard it. So, Sting, first solo album. Next one is sort of iffy. It's a first album. It's not a first album for each of them, but it's the first album of them together as a group. And they only put out 2 records. And it's The Highwaymen. This is their first album. And this is with Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, and Chris Christopherson. Great album. Highwaymen, The Last Cowboy Song, Big River, Desperados Waiting for a Train, Deportee. Just a great, great album. 4 geniuses of the country western scene for sure. Again, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, and Chris Christopherson. The Highwaymen, their first album. This next album, I had it, I got rid of it. People said I got to get more into it, I got to listen to it more. I bought it again, and now I got it, and I enjoy it now. And it's their first album, and it's Lone Justice. Yeah, what can I say? Everyone, you should know this album by now. Wonderful stuff. Lone Justice. Also in the 80s, one of my favorite singer-songwriters. Saw him last October and November when he came through town. Happy I got to see him again. And it's Lyle Lovett. The great Lyle Lovett. This is his first album. Cowboy Man, Further Down the Line, This Old Porch, etc. Went on to do great, great stuff. All his albums are wonderful. His new one is just great too. But this is his first. This is from '86. Lyle Lovett. A little blues now for you. How about the first? I haven't done any blues recently. How about the first album by this guitar master, Robert Cray? his first solo album, and this is Strong Persuader, also from '86, with the Memphis Horns. Great, great album. And you can pick this up inexpensive. You see this around all the time. Definitely worth picking up. And from the blues, how about some country? Retro country. One of my faves. Dwight Yoakam. And his first album, Guitars, Cadillacs, etc., etc. This is a repress. I don't care. I love it. What a great album. This has Honky Tonk Man, Bury Me, a duet with Maria McKee from Lone Justice, Guitars, Cadillacs, Ring of Fire, Heartache by the Number. Just great, great stuff. Dwight Yoakam. This is also from '84 originally. Another one who put out a great album, and again, never lived up to the hype of this album. I thought or think this is the best thing he ever did, and I love it, but it just never, his next couple albums just didn't do it for me. And that's Peter Case. His solo album, this has Echo Wars, I Shook His Hand, Old Blue Car, just great, great stuff on Geffen Records. Great singer-songwriter, but again, his work after this just to me never measured up to the greatness of this album. This is his first. Going back to the blues, first album by this guitar slinger, Duke Robillard, and his album Swing, and it does. Great, great album. Really love this. I really love Duke Robillard. Probably never really broke out in the scene really big, but still playing around, still playing the blues and doing it well. Duke Robillard. The next one is another guy who left the band and started his own career. This has a special place for me, and this is, he was in the New York Dolls, and it's Buster Poindexter, or David Johansen. This is his first album after he left the New York Dolls. Album is a special place for me because I had just gotten separated from my ex-wife. I had moved back to New York City. It was New Year's Eve, 1986, 85, 86. I was alone. I didn't know many people. And he was playing at a club called Tramps. And I went in, and what a night, what a show it was that night. He had the whole audience sing Christmas carols and round robins. And it was just a real uplifting show for me. And really got me out of the doldrums. And then 3 or 4 weeks later, I met my wife. And we've been together 35 years now. 37 years, married 35. So Buster Poindexter's album really has a special place for me. Great stuff, really love it. Smack dab in the middle, Bad Boy, Hot, Hot, Hot. Good Morning Judge. Heart of Gold, just a great, great album. This is another singer who left the band. The band was the Blasters. I don't have their first album. It came out in the 80s. I couldn't show it because I don't have it. But this is his first solo album, David Alvin. And this is his album, Romeo's Escape. This is one where this is good, but his later stuff I think is even better. But I definitely like this one. Jubilee Town, Border Radio, New Tattoo, Long White Cadillac. Good stuff. Dave Alvin from the Blasters. Left another band, started his own solo career. The band, Robbie Robertson. Took him a while. I know Levon Helm had albums out way before Robbie did. This is a good, solid album by Robbie Robertson from the band. From 1987, I want to say. Yep, 87. Robbie Robertson from the band. Another woman who did a fantastic first album. And her other albums were good. I'm not saying they're not good, but this one is on a level beyond. And it's Tracy Chapman. Her first album, self-titled. What a great, great album this one is. Fast Cars, Across the Lines, Baby Can I Hold You, She's Got the Ticket, For My Lover, For You. Just fantastic. The great, great Tracy Chapman. Another band by a couple of different artists got together for the first time. They put out only 2 albums. And to me, the greatest supergroup ever, bar none. and it's the Traveling Wilburys. Tom Petty, Bob Dylan, Roy Orbison, George Harrison, Jeff Lynne. Amazing. Handled with Care, Rattled Lace, Congratulations, Heading for the Hill, Tweeter and the Monkey Man, End of the Line. Just great. Hard to believe that 3 of the 5 are gone now. Tom, George, and Roy all gone. Hard to believe. Great, great album. The greatest supergroup ever. Traveling Wilburys. Here's another country guy. He was done a lot of solo work, but he was also in a band. Names escape me now. Jimmy Dale Gilmore. Love Jimmy Dale Gilmore. And this album has my favorite song by him, which is called, where the heck is it? Just the Wave, Not the Water. You're talking to somebody and just telling them, you're just the wave, you're not the water. On High Tone Records. The great Jimmy Dale Gilmore. His first album. Just love him. What do they call him? The Cowboy Buddhist. Just great. And speaking of Lone Justice, finally, first album by Maria McKee. Wonderful record. Great singer. Great album. I think it's from '89. And we're finally through the '80s. So those are my favorite debut releases from the 1980s. Everybody has different opinions. Some people say, why did I show that? How could I not have shown this? It's my list. You want to show something, you do your own. I would love to see your list of your favorite debut albums from different decades. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all the new subscribers I've gotten. I've got a number of them, so I appreciate that. And yeah, when you get a chance, check out All the World's a Stage. That's the guy who started this chain of videos I'm doing. Okay, thanks for watching. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel. And until next time, peace.